Let's get ready to rumble! What's going on, everybody? How are y'all doing? The 8th generation of gaming began with that Wii U in 2012. A year later, Sony and Microsoft will jump into the ring with their respective consoles, the Xbox One, the PlayStation 4. But as 2016 draws to a close, we find ourselves in uncharted waters. You see what I did there? Uncharted water? Instead of having a 9th generation of consoles, when you really look at what the 3 major manufacturers are doing, they made incremental upgrades to their consoles. For this reason, I call this next generation, Generation 8.5. For example, Sony and Microsoft have already come out and said every game that's coming to the Xbox Scorpio and PlayStation Pro, you can still play it on your Xbox One and PlayStation 4, further driving home the point that this is not a new generation. And so, we're gonna be battling it out. This video is just round 1 between the PlayStation Pro, that Nintendo Switch, and the Xbox Scorpio. What are we gonna be looking at in round 1? Hardware. How do each of these consoles shape up when it comes to hardware? First, that PlayStation Pro. The PlayStation Pro is a noticeable upgrade from that PlayStation 4. What do I mean? Particularly in raw computing power of the GPU. What do you mean? Let's talk flops. I know you like flip-flops. And so, the original PlayStation 4, its GPU could max out at 1.8 teraflops. But that PlayStation 4, what can it do? 4.2 teraflops. What does that mean? 4K gaming, crisp and clear images, beautifulness, the skies opening, better frame rates, and more tools for developers to work with. Also, it's a VR-friendly console. What does that mean? You'll have a better overall virtual reality experience, a tech that Sony has been pushing. With the improved specs of the PlayStation Pro, games should be running better than the older PlayStation 4. I emphasize that word should. Why? Digital Foundry, they've done some analysis on PlayStation Pro games, and they actually found that Watch Dogs 2, Skyrim, and The Last of Us actually run better on the older PlayStation 4. Why? They're saying that because the PlayStation Pro has more graphical effects, higher resolution, it actually negatively affects the frame rate. Who would have thought? Now, it is fairly early in the PlayStation Pro's life cycle, so hopefully developers, they'll smooth out some of those technical difficulties, and by year 2, year 3, we'll have great looking, great performing PlayStation Pro games. The next system we're gonna talk about is that swing. The reason why we're talking about this system next, because it's the next system to be coming to the market. Now, I have a disclaimer. I'm a little bit of a Nintendo fanboy, just a little. With that being said, on paper, the Nintendo Switch is the weaker of the 3 systems we're talking about. In fact, it really shouldn't even be compared with the PlayStation Pro and Scorpio. It's more in the ballpark of the Xbox One and PlayStation 4. But that's not saying that the Switch is a slouch, that the games are gonna look horrible. I'm gonna talk about the games in another video. But even the glimpse we saw in the Switch reveal trailer lets us know that the system can push out great graphics. But that's not where the Switch hardware shines. Not in the GPU, not in the CPU, but the concept of the system. You're in fact with this hardware getting 2 consoles in one. Boom! You can play your games on the go. Hey, you want to settle it in Smash? You want to race me in Mario Kart? You want to get some of this Splatoon ink? Or you can go home, dock the system, and play your games in beautiful 1080p, 60 frames per second. What's being rumored about this hardware is the fact that the GPU has different performances based on whether you're playing on the go, and then when it's docked, the system is overclocked and can run at better resolutions and at potentially better frame rates. A big reason why the GPU will be running at a lower speed while in portable mode is so that we can have longer battery life, and the system is rumored to have a 720p multi-touch screen. And so, with 720p resolution, you don't need the GPU to be straining that hard. And dudes, 720p on that size touchscreen is still going to look good. And so props to Nintendo for producing a console that has hardware that gives us a completely unique gaming experience. But we're not done yet. There's one more console we need to talk about, that Xbox Scorpio. In one word, this system is a beast. It's being rumored that this system will have GPU computations above 6 teraflops. That's a lot of flops. One of my biggest criticisms of the Xbox One this generation is, for the most part, it offered the same gaming experience as a PlayStation 4, but it came in at a higher price point and weaker specs. While I've always been a primarily Nintendo gamer, my choice of Sony or Microsoft have always come down to which system is gonna give me a better multi-platform experience. For example, last generation, the Xbox 360, I chose my Xbox 360 over the PlayStation 3. Why? The PlayStation 3 cost more, and the multi-platform games ran worse on the PlayStation 3. Even though the 360 was weaker on paper, developers had an easier time making games on that system than working with that horrible cell processor. This generation, it was the opposite. I gravitated more to my PlayStation 4 than my Xbox One. Easy. If I'm gonna play $60 for the same game, but this game runs better on this system, what am I gonna do? If these rumor specs are true about this Xbox Scorpio, the Xbox Scorpio is gonna be a force to reckon with this generation. So, what's the final verdict in round 1 hardware? For me, if you have a PlayStation 4, I see no reason to get a PlayStation Pro. The Scorpio's computing power trumps them all. The Switch hardware doubles as both a portable and home console and gives us a unique gaming experience the other 2 companies simply don't provide. And so, for round 1, it's a tie between the Scorpio and that Nintendo Switch. That's just round 1, but stay tuned for round 2 as we talk about the games that each system will offer. What are your thoughts on round 1 hardware versus the Pro, Switch, Scorpio? Sound off in the comment section below. I wanna know. But before you go, bro, click that subscribe button. Stay up to date. All things Nintendo.